America is not America for all Americans. So we ask everyone, continue fighting, keep doing your part, and stand with and support this family, because right now they really need you.
I just want to say thank you, and I just hope that everything falls out how it needs to fall out when these officers are charged. I'm really hurt. Father's Day is coming up, and all I can do is just think about what if my husband was still here.
The biggest question is how we feel about the charges. This isn't like a celebration or a victory lap of watching these officers get charged. Nobody's happy, nobody's celebrating, because this never should have happened. We shouldn't have to celebrate as African Americans when we get a piece of justice.
That was voices from a press conference after the Fulton County District Attorney Paul Howard's announcement of charges against the officers who were involved in the killing of Rayshard Brooks. You heard his widow, Tamika Miller, along with his family attorneys, Chris Stewart and Justin Miller of the Stewart Trial Attorneys, and we invited them to be on the show. They also represent Ahmaud Arbery, and I just wanted to say thank you, gentlemen, for making time for the show, and I want to give you a round of applause for the plight of your work. You should be celebrated for your history, what you've done, what you've been awarded for, and your stance for this community to find justice and fight for justice. You guys are on the front lines, and I just want to let you know we recognize you. We got Heather B., Mike Muse, and Tracy G on the line with us as well. Good morning.
Hey.
Morning, everybody. Good morning.
Let me start with this, Mr. Stewart. First and foremost, both of you, Mr. Miller and Mr. Stewart, how are you? How are you holding up? How's your heart?
Man, exhausted. You know, it's a lot. You know, that's the thing what people don't understand. And I've never seen a year like this. You know, 2020, we were helping Lee Merritt with the Ahmaud Arbery case in Georgia. And then George Floyd happens. We're also representing him. We represent Gianna. And then this happens with Rayshard. So we have just been literally on planes back and forth across the country. It's just a lot, man.
Yeah, I forget what sleep feels like at this point. It's all good, though.
What kind of things do you do for self-care? Because we need you guys strong. We need you lucid. You know, do we got to send you energy drinks? What do we need to do to help you guys out?
Hey, man, it's really the positivity. It's the positivity that we get from talking to y'all, man, and the community support has been outstanding. You know, even being at the marches, going out there, it's the support that keeps you going.
The energy from y'all, the energy from the people. That's enough right there. That's our energy drink right now, the energy from the people. So we love it. Thank y'all.
It's not unusual for attorneys in cases, especially when they're as known as these cases are, to speak publicly. And a lot of times the public is misinformed. You know, I come from a news world, and I know how news could be slanted and, information can be distorted. Can we talk about some of these cases and what are the status of these cases, and what do you want the public to know? Let's start with Rayshard Brooks.
Hey, Chris. Yeah, this is Chris. I mean, that he was a human being. You know, it's kind of like what I said before. You find me a perfect person, I'll find you a devil. There's no such thing as a perfect human being. You know, just because he may have had, some prior arrests, that didn't mean he deserved to die. So that's been the biggest thing that we've been pushing. And also that officer had other options. He didn't have to kill him. It was not a life or death situation, no matter what narrative the other side is pushing.
And also, this guy really had worked on turning his life around. He was headed in the right direction. He really had a good relationship with his family. He had all of his criminal stuff taken care of and was moving forward. And then, this happened. It was just it's a tragic situation. And we're just sad that some people don't see it that way.
Okay. And then even Ahmaud Arbery, I mean, the same thing happened to him. He was vilified. They tried to bring up past incidents that might have happened in his life as if that justified his killing. And we saw that those involved were arrested for months. Where are we on his case, Ahmaud Arbery?
You brought up a really key thing. Like you said, they tried to assassinate his character. Man, they've been doing that since these started. I mean, do you remember Walter Scott in Charleston?
Yeah.
Was running through. I had that case. And the first thing that the other side was saying was he was late on his child support. He shouldn't have run, as if that had anything to do with it. And the media ran with the late on his child support and had been arrested. So they go after your character every time. You know, they did it with Alton Sterling. I could barely get a word out before they're bringing up his criminal history. So they're doing it every time. You know, it's not going to work with Ahmaud, though. We have, you know, the right people got arrested. You know, Lee, me and Justin and Ben just keep pushing it.
Okay. We have Chris Stewart and Justin Miller on the line. Mike Muse, you want to jump in?
Yeah. One, hello, fellas. It's really great to meet you. I salute you for all the work that you're doing. This type of work isn't easy. Advocacy isn't easy. And so I'm glad that you guys are being mindful of your self-care and however form or measure that you can do it. I think that's been a toll on our civil rights leader that we haven't addressed publicly, is how much of a mental and physical toll this takes on your body. So salute to you and all the work and advocacy you're doing on behalf of Black individuals and Black men in particular. So I salute that. The question I have for you is a couple. I have a couple of questions actually, but I kind of want to begin with, how are you guys feeling about the charges from a Fulton County District Attorney? Because we've seen, and shout out to Prosecutor Mosley in Baltimore, you know, there was this narrative of overcharging, right? And but I salute to her for all the work that she did in bringing forth those cases. How do you feel in this situation the Fulton County District Attorney handled and presented the counts? Do you feel they were the right counts? Do you feel there was a moderate amount that was brought in? Just talk to me a little bit about that.
Go ahead, Jack.
Yeah, it was good. It was refreshing to see. You know, Atlanta is a place that's a little different from other places in that there are a lot of us here. So the district attorney is one of us as well, and I feel like he looked at the case really through a great lens to make sure that he charged everything he could. Now, that's the first step. The next step is making sure that convictions happen. And, you know, the district attorney's office, they don't necessarily charge cases that they don't think they can prove. So we're looking at that. We're going to let them do their job, and hopefully they come out with convictions on these officers. But it's going to be a hard battle. This case is not like George Floyd. It's a little more intricate, so they have an uphill battle in front of them.
And this is Chris, man. You know, this is the crazy thing. They're saying it's political, the reasons that he charged. It's always political. So if the prosecutors don't charge in a case, I've been told later on, oh, man, I didn't charge because I didn't want to lose the union, or I would never get reelected. So every decision they make has an element of a political decision in it, but it's always based off of whatever their facts are. So this whole thing of trying to say his charges were just to keep his job, it's insanity. Because if he didn't charge, then it would be political too.
Correct.
So what is he supposed to do? You know what I mean? He's got to make a decision. If he doesn't, it's political in favor of the cops. If he does, people say it's in favor of Black people. I mean, the facts are the facts, man. It's just, it's ridiculous. They can't have it both ways.
You're absolutely right. And you mentioned in the beginning part of your answer, it talked about, you know, Fulton County is made up of us, and of us meaning Black individuals. My question then, and actually a concern I'm just having, things that kind of in the back of my mind, is when we pivot to Ahmaud Arbery. And understanding what that county makeup is, and understanding that those three white prosecutors who passed until eventually the public got wind of what was happening, and then now we see the charges and those individuals were arrested with that. How are you guys feeling about that makeup of that county, right, in the sense of, you know, how they may be viewing Ahmaud Arbery, the county, but then also to the residents, because eventually if a trial doesn't occur, it would be a jury of individuals who make up that county.
So in that case, the difference is the world is now seeing it. So when people get behind it and there's a bright light showing on it, it's harder to hide things and do things in the dark. And so maybe before, if no one knew about this, I would be a little more concerned about it. I still am concerned, and we still need everyone out, you know, showing their support, voicing their concerns about what you just said. But because there is that spotlight on it, this may be a situation where that can be not one of the issues in the case. And, you know, the only thing that helps that is everyone rowing together, watching what's going on, and being vocal about what they see and what they don't want to happen.
Yeah, and there's a strong chance it'll get moved out of that county. So that's going to be a battle that'll take place later on is a change of venue fight to get it up to Cobb County, where the district attorney who now has it is from. So that's highly likely going to happen at some point, and it'll be away from that county.
Well, that's really great news to hear right there then. I have one more question then. Well, then what are the lessons learned then that you can apply from Walter Scott that you can apply to Ahmaud Arbery? Because in the Walter Scott scenario, the world's seeing the actions of that police officer chase that Mr. Scott while Mr. Scott was running away from him, shot him in his back, and then we saw the evidence playing against him, and we all saw that. And then we also know what the outcome of that case was. And so what do you think some lessons that can be learned so that we can apply it? And I say we just because those who are following this case, those who support, the families of Rayshard and Ahmaud, and those of us who have your back and want to keep you guys with it and amplify your strategy as much as possible, what lessons can we take away to make sure that outcome isn't the same type of outcome that for Ahmaud Arbery that we saw with Mr. Scott?
Man, you about to make me write a bio on there.
You should.
It's a lot of things, man. The first thing I would say is don't believe the initial negative narrative that they try and put out about the victim. Because with Walter Scott, when I got that case, the story was officer tried to take weapon from the officer and he was shot while doing that. But then I found that witness who filmed it, and we all saw the truth when we let it loose online and in the media, and the truth came out. But we would have been believing this guy tried to fight Slager for that taser, because that's what they were saying. So don't believe the narrative. You know what I mean? In every case, they attack the character of the person so that y'all just move to the next story. Yeah. And the other biggest thing is just stay in the fight. I mean, think about it. There were national, worldwide outrage over Walter Scott, over Alton Sterling. We had protests. We were demonstrating. There were even some riots in some cities. And then people moved on with their life. And now we're back here with Ahmaud Arbery and George Floyd. So, don't let people just be hashtags and move on. Like, we've got to stay in the fight.
That's Chris. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's Chris.
Okay. That's Chris Stewart and Justin Miller. They're representing Rayshard Brooks and Ahmaud Arbery. Justin, you want to chime in?
Yeah, man. Chris said it all right then. It is about staying on top of this stuff. We can't have it be a thing where we start up fresh and new every single time something happens. If we just continue, like I would say for you guys, just have a segment. And I don't know, you guys do have different segments, but a specific segment on, civil rights for 30 seconds every day, or however many times you could do it. Something like that helps immensely, because then people think about it. People are it's always on the front of their mind. And so we just want people to know, listen, it is still Black Lives Matter. It is still civil rights. We are still fighting, even though people's timelines have gone back to, twerking and whatever else is going on.
It's interesting you say that because, we got autonomy on this show, so we can do that. We can do a weekly civil rights report, and it could be quite simple. Justin or Chris, maybe it's a minute and a half, 2 minutes long. You guys can send me an audio clip, and we'll produce something around it and make sure we run it. It's that simple.
$19.99 an hour. I mean,
we get you because all of the people who do this work, we all know each other. We're all friends. Like a segment like that, we get you this person and that person and this story and that story, and keep them in the front lines so people keep fighting, because this thing is ongoing. We don't ever stop. You know what I mean? We keep going. So.
Okay.
People they hear about the next one and then they get excited, but
we're gonna connect behind the scenes. We're gonna make that happen. Heather, you want to get in there?
Yeah. Hey, Chris. Hey, Justin. It's Heather. How are you guys? And thank you again, like everybody is saying, for so much for calling into the show. You just said something that hit me too, just about everybody just get back to normal sometimes, but I can't help for some reason, and I don't want to discount from anybody else, from a Sandra Bland or anything like that, because I feel like we forgot about her. But this Breonna Taylor story won't leave me. I don't know what it is. You, Chris and Justin, it's heavy on my spirit, and I don't know what's taking so long. And I know this is not y'all's case, but if you could just maybe give your professional opinion as to what is taking so long to convict the officers that murdered her and then threw her boyfriend in
yeah.
jail. Like, I don't understand.
I do. It's sad, though. It is because every time there's a national case like this,
Okay.
the law enforcement community, especially people who are in charge in whatever city it is, they know they need to make this arrest. But they also understand the precedent it's going to set for the cases that are coming in the future, because there's always mistakes made where you go to the wrong house, or you beat the wrong person, or you do this or do that. So they know by arresting in this certain case, now people are going to get justice in the other mistakes that they're going to make or have made. So they get scared about doing the right thing because they're worried about their exposure and what can happen in the future or the past. So I get what's happening. Other cases are going to probably pop out where that task force went to the wrong house, or different things like that. And it's sad. Instead of doing the right thing, it's politics.
This is what I say about Breonna Taylor's case. Arrest the cops and let them go through the same process I would go through if I went in somebody's house and I killed them. Right? That's it. It's nothing. It's not like a fancy thing. It's not very intricate. Just arrest them and let them go through the same process. If they're innocent, they tell us that the justice system works for us too, right? So if they're innocent, then they'll be let free. If they're not innocent, they'll go to jail. That's simple. And they're not doing that, and that's probably why it sits bad with you. And it sits that same way with us. But there are some good attorneys working on it, and we're pushing that case too. So like we said, keep going, keep pushing. Use your platform to talk about it.
Chris Stewart, Justin Miller's Stewart trial attorneys. Look them up. Rock with them. Tracy, you want to jump in there too?
Absolutely. Hey, Chris. Hey, guys. I'm so happy that you both are a part of the show today and all of the important work you're doing. So a couple of days ago when I was at the grocery store, I overheard an interesting conversation from two individuals who were pretty much wondering if they should even be donating to the GoFundMes for Ahmaud Arbery, for Gianna, for even unfortunately what may happen in the future for future victims, because they didn't know after a certain amount when celebrities are donating whatever dollar amounts where the money is going necessarily. And so I wanted you guys to speak on that in case other citizens may be wondering the same, if it's paying for the legal fees, since this is a long process. What can you share?
Yeah, this is Chris. To clear it up about the GoFundMe, and this is the harsh reality of African-American poverty, is when these tragedies happen, these families, mostly a mother now with children just by herself, is left to raise these kids alone. No matter what people think, these civil rights cases don't pay big money, which is why a lot of lawyers don't do it. We've been lucky to have some good results in the past, but that's far and few between. Civil rights cases have all kind of immunity. They take years. I mean, I'm still fighting Alton Sterling's case in court, and it's 4 years later.
Wow.
So families have no income, sadly. We have clients who are literally day to day, and that was while their husband was still alive before he was killed by police. So the GoFundMes help support them, help take care of the bills, all this travel they have to do, take care of their children. And that's the point. It doesn't take care of legal fees because, that's something that we take the risk on. We don't get a dime until we win. I mean, we haven't been paid anything in the cases that we're still litigating until we win. So it's really for the families. And what's sad right now with Rayshard Brooks is the officers have raised more money for the cops than for the children.
Yep.
Then the children.
I would say
wow.
The GoFundMes that for the cases that of the people we represent, that money goes directly to those families. So if you have somebody and you know somebody who's concerned about that money is going directly to them. There's no cut. We don't take any of it. It goes directly to them. And we try to help them with other things. Sometimes they need a car or they'll need a house. The kids need to go to college. We need people to chip in and help them with that because, it's just difficult when you have a family and they are already living below the poverty line, and then you take away the only person who is bringing in some kind of money to that household and say, all right, here you go. That very next week, they got to figure out how to live. college funds are cool, but you got to get the kids to 18 before they can even go to college. So please donate to those things. And if they have questions about the families that we represent, about which GoFundMe is real or whatever, they can just shoot us an email and we'll respond.
And let me repeat that. The officers raised more money for the 2 officers that killed Rayshard Brooks than for his 4 children. Just wanted to remind our people that.
Just chew on that. Just think about that. We got a long way to go. You guys, first and foremost, I feel like this is just a series of conversations we need to have, and it's just the introductory part of the series because we've been following what you're doing, and it was a no-brainer to have you on this show. And I really want to follow up. I'll have Kelly, our producer, follow up with your folks and see if we can kind of do a weekly thing where you guys could keep people abreast on what's happening with the cases and then also civil rights. And I think that's why we want to have you on. We tend to talk about these topics every single day because we don't want it to leave people's psyche. And the other thing I wanted to bring up that is not totally related is you talked about the, college, and both of you guys are alumni to HBCUs. And I wanted you to, if you can, just put the spotlight on going to a HBCU and then how to help develop you and prep you for the work that you're doing today.
I can just real quick.
I'll let the lower tier HBCU.
Oh, here we go. Here we go.
Man, these college people be tripping, Sway.
Here we go. Isn't it? You hear the hate?
I hear it.
So I went to Morehouse, and I'll just say this: that experience taught me a lot about myself that I didn't know. So, it's not necessarily you're going to get a different academic education about, the books are the books wherever you go. But what it does teach you is that we are a community. We're not just one, individuals everywhere. We are a community. And to get anywhere in this country, we have to behave as if we are a community. So there were things that I didn't know about myself and about my people and about, just the plight and the things we have been going through that I learned there. And so it doesn't really matter where I am now, regardless of if I'm talking to the president of the United States or a janitor, in the office. It's the same to me because we're all the same. So they get the same conversation from me. I feel the same for them. I have empathy for the janitor. Just like I'm listening to the president, it's love. We do this, like Chris said, this is not some kind of lucrative field of law. We do this because we love our people. And I think that love didn't start at the HBCU, but it was definitely nurtured there.
Okay. Chris, you want to jump in that?
Yeah, see, now I went to Xavier in New Orleans and then Howard for law school. So, you might have heard of that school.
I've heard of it, yes.
The undergrad at Xavier, it really kind of taught you community. You know what I mean? Like all you had was each other. And then you started seeing how the black professors there cared so much for you because I wasn't like a great student. So they would always turn around and help you. So when I had to decide on law school, I wanted to go to another HBCU. And then Howard was literally what helped me define who I'm going to be in law because they teach you such a sense of blackness and self-worth. You can't, when we're criticized now taking these cases, they can't tell me who I am or what I'm fighting for because I already fully understand who I am and why I'm fighting these cases and why we're going to keep taking them. Because walking down those halls at Howard, you see these legendary lawyers and, Supreme Court justices and things of that nature. And you start realizing that it's limitless for African Americans. It's just, do you limit yourself? Yeah.
And you guys know, we do, like, civil rights is one of the main things we do, but we also do, personal injury cases, wrongful death cases. We do, when we can do this stuff because we have other stuff that we try to use to keep the lights on. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So it allows us to have it's the engine behind us being able to push like we do. So, I try to let people know all the time, we're out here for civil rights too, but we're trying to keep the lights on. So if you got some kind of negligence case, call us too.
Okay. And how can they reach you? Might as well plug that. If they wanted to reach out to you, they could just look you up at they could just Google you at Stewart Trial Attorneys. They handle wrongful
Stewart Trial
deaths.
Attorneys.
Yep. And that's
Stewart. We do. Sorry, Sway. Go ahead.
Is it StewartTrial.com?
Yep.
Okay.
That's us. And we both are on social media relentlessly. That's the way to get the message out these days, of course. So we are on there 24/7, 7 days a week, getting the message out about our cases and about what we do. My Instagram is jmilleresq. Chris, what's yours?
Chris Stewart _ESQ.
Okay. Gentlemen, thank you. So let's make an agreement.
Yes.
Let's make an agreement. We could do that. I represent myself. Mike Muse is my attorney. Let's agree. We'll come up with some concepts, and we could do a reoccurring segment about civil rights, and also to keep us updated on these cases, because I do not want Rayshard Brooks, Ahmaud Arbery, Breonna Taylor. I do not want these names to get lost in the news cycle. I want to make sure we utilize our platform to keep bringing attention to the progress. And I want to say salute to you guys. I know it's exhausting. That's why I wanted to start and ask you, how's your heart? Know that we support you. We're here for you. This platform is now your platform. I saw you post on Instagram and all of those different places. Let's follow up, okay? Let's work together. Y'all with that?
Let us know.
All right. Thank you very much.
All right, cool. Love you guys for what you're doing too. Chris Stewart and Justin Miller. We'll pray for the families, and we'll check in with you. Mike Muse, thank you too. Guys, thanks for coming on the show, man. You're citizens.
Yes.